Next concept we have non-destructive insulation testing techniques. Electrical insulating materials which is used in the various forms to provide insulation for the apparatus. The insulating material may be gas, liquid or the solid, or sometimes the combination of these, such as paper impregnated with oil. So these materials will possess a good insulating property over a wide range of the operating parameters, considering that the temperature range may be 0 to 110 degrees Celsius and the frequency range for the DC of several megahertz in the radio and the high frequency ranges. Since it is a difficulty to test the quality of the insulating material once it forms the part of an equipment, suitable test must be done to ensure that the quality in the said ranges for the operation. So also these tests are devised to ensure that the material is not destroyed in the case of the high voltage testing, because we are not supposed to lose the material or the devices while testing. So suitable care has to be taken. So that's why we'll call it as non-destructive. We are testing but without destructing the equipment. So these tests are mainly done to assess the electrical properties such as the resistivity, the dielectric constant, and the loss factor for over a wide range of the frequency ranges. In high voltage operators, the quality of the insulation which is assessed by like a tan delta, that is nothing but the loss factor or loss angle at a high voltage, and also by conducting by partial discharge test to detect any deterioration or fault in the internal insulation of the apparatus. So these tests may be conducted at a desired temperature or over a temperature range by keeping that the test specimen in the controlled temperature of the ovens. The knowledge of the variation of electrical properties over the operating range can be obtained from these tests, and this will help the design engineer to take into account such variation in the design of an electrical insulation for the equipment. So electrical insulation, that's nothing but the insulation coordination is an important, because it is subjected to the high voltage stress for over a wide range of the frequencies. Now we are going to discuss the measurement of dielectric constant and the loss factor. Many insulating substances have dielectric constant which is greater than unity and have dielectric loss when subjected to the AC voltages. So these two quantities, namely the dielectric constant and loss, is depend upon the magnitude of the voltage stress and the frequency of the applied voltage. So when a dielectric is used in the electrical equipment such as cable or the capacitor, the variation of these quantities with respect to the frequencies plays an very important role, because the microscopic properties of the dielectric are discovered by combining the variations of these two quantities into consider as the complex quantity known as complex permittivity, and determine determining them at various frequencies. So let's consider that a capacitor is connected to a sinusoidal voltage forms of V is equal to V naught exponential value of omega t with an angular frequency omega is equal to 2 pi f. This stores a charge q is equal to C naught V, that's initial value of the capacitance V, and draws and charging current IC dq by dt is equal to j omega C naught into V. So then the capacitance of the capacitor, which is going to be increased to k value. So this is nothing but as a relative dielectric constant of the material with respect to a vacuum. Then IL will be equal to G naught, just nothing but the conductance into V. G represents the conductance of the dielectric material. Then the total current, which can be written as, so I is equal to IC plus IL. So what do you mean by IC? IC is nothing but the charging current, and IL is nothing but the loss component of the current. So generally the current leads the voltage by an angle. This is the ideal value of the capacitor, because we know that the current is advanced than the voltage at an angle of 90 degree. So the current leads the voltage by an angle of theta, which is less than the 90 degree. This is total angle. Okay, this forms angle theta. The loss angle delta, which is equal to that, nothing but 90 minus theta, will get the delta angle. The phasor diagram which is shown for the ideal line, the capacitor with the lossy dielectric. So it would be premature to conclude that dielectric material corresponding to RC parallel circuit in the electrical behavior. The frequency response of this circuit can be expressed as the ratio of the loss current to the charging current. This is nothing but we can call it as a loss tangent. That's tan delta is equal to IL by IC, that is equal to 1 by omega CR. So this is not at all agree with the result actually which is observed, because conductance need not be due to the migration of the charges or charges which is carried by the carriers, but maybe representing any other energy consuming a process. Hence it is very customary to refer the existence of loss current in addition to the charge current by introducing some complex permittivity, that's a k, that is equal to epsilon dash minus j epsilon double dash, so that the current which is given by I is equal to something j omega epsilon dash, okay, omega epsilon double dash E naught by epsilon v. Okay, so this is the resulting value. You will get the k value. So this is called as a complex relative permittivity or complex dielectric constant, and epsilon dash and the k dash are called as permittivities, and the relative permittivities epsilon double dash and k double dash are called as loss factor and relative loss factor respectively. Power frequency measurement methods. So in that, high voltage sharing bridge. In a power frequency range like 25 to 100 hertz, the high voltage sharing, that's a sharing bridge, is very versatile, and the sensitivity bridge is usually which is used for the high voltage measurement. The stress mainly is depending upon the k dash or epsilon relative permittivity, and loss angle tan delta can be easily obtained with help of these bridges. This is the schematic representation which you can see to that. So the lossy capacitor or the capacitor with the dielectric between electrodes is represented as imperfect capacitors having the Cx value with having the internal resistance of the Rx. The standard capacitance Cs, which is having the capacitance value of around 52 500 picofarad, and there is a variable on R4 and R3 and C3 which is connected in parallel. So under this balance condition, you will get Z1 by Z2 is equal to Z4 by Z3. Okay, Z1. So we know that Z1 is equal to this is connection of the series Rx and the capacitance non-valid capacitance Cx. Z2 is nothing but the standard value of the capacitance Cs, that is 1 by j omega Cs, and Z3. Okay, this is the parallel combination R3 and the C3. So after doing the simplification, you will get R3 by 1 plus j omega C3 R3, and there is a variable impedance, that's the resistance, is equal to, we have only the resistance R4. So the balance equation can be able to get the unknown value of the capacitance Cx is equal to R3 by R4 into the Cs, and unknown value of the resistance Rx is equal to C3 by Cs into R4. After doing the simplification, there is a real and the imaginary terms. So usually the tan, that's nothing but delta x, will be small at a power frequency for the common dielectrics, so that we are considering cos theta x, that is equal to omega C3 R3. So the lossy capacitor which is made, which is equivalent Cx in series with the Rx, so can be represented as a parallel combination of the Cx and the Rx, where parallel combination Rx is found. So next slide I will going to explain this. So with this Cx having the same value, so normally the normal method which is for the balancing is by fixing the value of R3 and the C3 and the R4. So these three things, R3, C3 and the R4, and if R3 which is chosen as some omega value of 100 pi, and if the capacitance is expressed in terms of the microfarad, then we have tan delta is equal to some 0.1. So C3 will give an direct reading of the tan delta. So R4 will be in the formation of the decade box with the 5 to 6 decade dials. So the maximum value of R4 is limited to around 10 to the power of 4 ohm, and the lowest value which is allowed of around 0.01 ohm. So this ranges adequately takes care of the errors due to the contact resistance as well as the stray capacitance across the R4, which is usually very small. So it is very important thing to see to that resistance are pure and not reactive, and the standard capacitor has negligible tan delta. So this is general arrangement which you can see here. It is suitable when the test specimen is not grounded. The standard capacitance Cs value, generally it is an 3 terminal. The low voltage arm, that is nothing but this is subject to low voltage R4, R3 and C3, and the detector are enclosed in the ground shield. You can see here this is a ground shield to avoid the stray capacitances during the measurement. So generally this detector, either it may be of vibration galvanometer or modern bridges which is tuned electronic null detector of high sensitivity. The protective gaps, that's nothing but the G, are so arranged that low voltage arm are protected from the high voltage in the case of the test object which is fails. The value of the impedance across the low voltage arm are such that this is nothing but EB and the FB should not exceed a 10 to a 20 volts. The arms will be of usually rated for the maximum instantaneous value which is around 100 volt, not more than that. For the very accurate measurement, the dissipation factor at a power frequency, the stray and the ground capacitance should be eliminated, and the indirect capacitive and inductive couplings of the arm to be minimized to the lower level than the accuracy of the bridge arm. So in this bridge, the main source of the error is the ground capacitance of the low voltage terminal of the high voltage arm. So that is nothing but the stray capacitance from E to F to the ground, E to F to the ground. So this can be eliminated by shielding a proper low voltage arm, using doubly shielded for the connections and using as an Wagner earthing devices. So although this compensation for the stray capacitance which is given by providing some RL circuit across the R4 values. So this is a general arrangement for the measurement, and this is what the explanation what we made. And the Cx value, that is nothing but tan delta, that's nothing but loss angle, be at a small power frequencies for the common dielectric material, that's nothing some cos theta x, which is given as omega c3 r3, rx can be written as 1 by omega squared cx and the rx value.